Marvellous setting here in the capital city. A capacity 22,000 crowd, full of enthusiasm for this match. The Hearts fans there, of course, very confident indeed in view of their recent record over the last 5 years against Hibs, undefeated in 20. But Hibs will be remembering that it's 15 years almost to the day, the 10th of March 1979, when they played against Hearts last at a cup tie, and they won by 2-1. So the cup results since the war: 3 wins to Hibs, 2 to Hearts, suggesting that it's going to be a match to remember. Les Mottram, the referee, leading the two teams out together. And just listen to the reception. A friendly exchange there between John Robertson and Jim Leighton. So nothing quite like a Tennent's Scottish Cup occasion, and here's the Hibs team confirmed. The blow confirmed, no Graham Mitchell, his hamstring injury hasn't recovered. And Gordon Hunter too is suspended as the captain and vice-captain, both out of the side. But Wright and Jackson are free of suspension, they're back up front. Now let's hear Billy McNeill's thoughts on the team formation.
Yes, Alec Miller will be trying to compensate for the loss of Graham Mitchell by switching Miller over to the left-hand side to compensate for the ability of Cahoon. He'll also be looking for Jackson and Wright to profit from wide runs by McAllister and O'Neill, and he's given a lot of responsibility to young Danny Lennon, playing him in the heart of what I think will be a real hotbed this afternoon.
So the Hearts line up, just 2 changes there from the team which lost 2-0 to Hearts 8 days ago. Gary Locke and Wayne Foster are out. John Cahoon is free of suspension, he's back in the side, and John Miller comes into the midfield. Let's see how this team may line up.
Much more settled formation from Hearts. Craig Levine will be sweeping at the back behind Berry and McLaren, who will be detailed undoubtedly to pick up Hearts' front two. They'll be looking for those front three of Cahoon, Johnson and Robertson to upset Hibs at the back and perhaps create another shot.
So it looks as though it may be 4-4-2 against 3-4-3, but one key man in the heart of midfield for Hibs will be Danny Lennon, just 24 years old. It's only his 3rd start of the season after a very difficult period with a knee ligament injury, and he has made a very big impact on his return to top team duty. For Mo Johnston, the chance again for Scottish Cup success. He was in the Celtic winning side of 1985 in a forward line which read Provan, McStay, Johnston, Burns and McGarvey. How Celtic would welcome that sort of forward line today. The referee, Les Mottram from Wilson Town, who was a candidate for the World Cup finals in the USA in the summer. So some discussions going on there. Craig Levine sorting out who should be having the kick-off. It will be Hearts who start the match, playing down the famous Easter Road slope. Hibs will be happy about that because they like to play downhill in the second half. So we're underway with Hearts trying to get the ball forward early. Johnston going up there and looking very quickly around the team formations. Alec Miller clearly has tried to disrupt things as little as possible, and indeed Willie Miller has started at right back, and the left back position is being occupied here by David Farrell, with Beaumont and Tweed in central defence.
Yes, that's right, I've noticed that immediately. And obviously Alec Miller is trying to disturb his team as little as possible after Graham Mitchell being out, and Farrell has been given the responsibility of looking after Cahoon, which will be a big responsibility this afternoon, I would think.
So there's Dave Beaumont's header in central defence, winning number 3. A bit of jostling there in the middle of the field. John Miller is penalised. These are always tense opening minutes in the match. Nerves jangling throughout the players' ranks. You need this settling in period. And of course, if either could strike an early blow, it could make such a difference to the outcome of the match. There's Willie Miller. Firing that into the box. Keith Wright got up well to that. Well, that'll be disturbing a little for the Hearts defence, the way Keith Wright was able to rise to that so confidently.
Yeah, Keith Wright's obviously got ability in there, but I think this is, if you're going to allow forwards to get a header in, you might as well let them get it from that distance. There's no real trouble to the goalkeeper there, but certainly be a warning to Hearts that they can't be too careless or too casual.
A fine commanding header by Stephen Tweed there, the under-21 international. Commanding figure in the heart of that Hibs defence, growing in maturity this season. Here he is in possession, becoming more and more assured with the ball at his feet also. Looking there for the front men. Kevin McAllister has gone roving. He's gone straight through into a forward position early in the match. Here's Michael O'Neill, halted by McKinlay. That's for Johnston. He's inside David Farrell, supported by Cahoon. And Cahoon now hustled by two players. He still gets the cross in. Here comes McKinlay. Fine play by McKinlay. And the opening goal for Hearts is scored by John Robertson. 2.5 minutes on the clock. And the hammer of Hibs does it again. A brilliant finish here by John Robertson. It's his 9th goal of the season.
It's a lovely piece of skill by Tosh McKinlay there. Look at that, there's John Robertson in a position to do what he does well, and really Hibs should know about his ability to score. He's done it so often together, but a lot of it's down to John Cahoon here. Puts in a nice ball at the back post, in comes Tosh McKinlay, gets to that byline, there it is in net. What a wonderful start for Hearts.
Well, what a facer that is for Hibs so early in the match. Already concerned, no doubt, about the jinx factor of playing. Hearts, 20 times they've played in the last 5 years without success against their city rivals, and now they have the worst possible start to contend with. And I reckon that Alec Miller in the dugout may well be concerned about the fact that Graham Mitchell was missing, because that goal created an area which Graham Mitchell would normally have dominated. David Farrell, in fairness to him, was trying to adjust his position for that.
You know, it's a marvellous goal. It's a lovely piece of skill by Tosh McKinlay, and John Robertson deadly inside that box, isn't he?
So a free kick now for Hibs, taken by McAllister. Headed down by Tweed, and no one coming in on the edge of the 6-yard box for that. He makes his way back to his defensive role as Henry Smith waits for the area to clear. 38 next month, playing in his 42nd Edinburgh derby. Willie Miller getting up there with Johnston. A throw to Hearts. Now credit also to Hearts for testing out the alteration to Hibs' defence. They realised, of course, that David Farrell would require some time to settle in the left-back role. And John Cahoon tested him to the full there to create that opening goal. Here's Robertson. Mackay takes over. There's Johnston. He couldn't get on the end of that. The counter-attack is on now for Hibs. Here's McAllister. He's been given a roving commission up front to support Wright and Jackson. Going at Levine. Not quite the correct angle on that. Darren Jackson was racing in there, but McAllister showing his confidence again in possession.
It's a marvellous run from Kevin McAllister here. Gets the ball inside his own half, takes it right at the Hearts defenders, gets himself in a position, and I think he might well have been trying to put that ball across the front of the goal rather than trying a direct shot. Might have been more profitable.
Well, Johnston putting pressure there on Tweed. That's beautifully taken down by Robertson, but also an excellent tackle from Willie Miller. Well, real pace and ability required in this match. Darren Jackson bundled over by Alan McLaren, the Scotland defender, making his presence felt early on. So a delay here for treatment to John Robertson. Alan Ray, the Hearts physio, on for his first piece of play, doing some repair work to the Robertson right ankle. Alec Miller giving some instructions there to Willie Miller, passing on word to teammates. Tosh McKinlay also going across to get some help from the bench. Sandy Clark on his feet also. It's tense, it's nervous, and you really could cut the atmosphere with a knife here at Easter Road. The Edinburgh derby occasionally has provided some disappointing league matches, but the Lieutenant Scottish Cup seems to have made a difference to the whole buzz around the stadium. A tackle there by Farrell. There's Leach, back to Mackay. Calm figure of Craig Levine at the back for Hearts. It's Johnston to Cahoon. It's well played by Tweed. And he did very well indeed there, Tweed, dropping back to provide an angle for Farrell. Jim Leighton able to take over, in fact, but Stephen Tweed showing growing maturity. Here's Dave Beaumont, Hibs skipper this afternoon, in the absence of Gordon Hunter and Graham Mitchell. There, the clumsy one. Neil Berry on Keith Wright. Free kick to Hibs. Stephen Tweed has made his way into the penalty box for this. Michael O'Neill over the ball. Aiming there for Keith Wright. That's a good ball. And Wright just out of reach, going for that. Taking a huge divot in the process.
It's an interesting little free kick. Played in towards the goals, and Keith Wright's not all that far away from getting a touch to it. Certainly Alec Miller has already changed his thoughts just a little bit. He's pulled Kevin McAllister onto this left-hand side. He's pushed Danny Lennon out onto the right-hand side and taken Michael O'Neill right into the centre of that midfield. Obviously he's trying to get Kevin McAllister's ability on the ball to test Gary Mackay.
There's Wright to McAllister. Berry steps in. Strong challenge there by Leach, then by Hamilton. Low quarter, Arsenal given here. Beaumont playing it long. Neil Berry following Keith Wright all over the place. This is McAllister. Hamilton to Farrell. Well, you can see there David Farrell not comfortable at all, trying to play it early with his left foot. Did well to earn that corner. Tried to play the ball in with the outside of the right boot. Well, it really is a major blow, I think, to have to withdraw David Farrell from the midfield engine room where he's worked so well and play him in Graham Mitchell's specialist position. McAllister will take the corner. Jostling there on the line, Darren Jackson trying to make a nuisance of himself. That's well taken by Smith. Well, vast experience, of course. Henry Smith joined the club in 1981 from Leeds United. That's McKinlay. Here's Johnston. It's too long in the air for John Miller's liking, I'm sure. The Hearts have a free kick. John Miller, a real workhorse in the middle of the field for Hearts. Joined the club from Blackburn Rovers in 1991. Played short by McKinlay to Leach. McKinlay again, far post ball. And an offside flag up. No, indeed a free kick, I think, given. The referee indicating that there was a player backing in. I think Maurice Johnston backing into his marker. Well, certainly putting us all about. Johnston up front. So Hibs trying very hard to play in a 4-3-3 formation as much as possible. Kevin McAllister has been given license to go forward. Is being followed by Gary Mackay as he operates on the Hibs left at this stage. Here's a chase for Cahoon. Farrell reacted well. This is Beaumont. Neil Berry's header. McAllister. Good running by McAllister, followed by Mackay. Now trying to test the pace of Levine. Now it's going to be a very difficult task. Well, McAllister anxious to get on the ball as much as possible. Hibs will be very happy to see that, but the Hearts defence standing up well to him so far. Craig Levine, the essence of calmness in the heart of that Tynecastle defence. Well won by Tweed. Attacks the ball extremely well with that really substantial physique. Very difficult to overcome in the air. John Robertson separates the teams at this stage. Mackay, fouled by McAllister. Well, back in the season 1985-86. Hibs lost the League Cup final to Aberdeen. Hearts the Scottish Cup final to Aberdeen. Jim Leighton playing in both matches. Hibs have no survivors from that season, but Hearts have no fewer than 6. It really is quite remarkable in a period of 8 years. 6 players who played in the final 1986 still in this side. It's easy for Leighton, who has 4 winners' medals in Aberdeen colours. Here's Darren Jackson. Hamilton playing it forward, that's offside. He's quite clearly offside. So the 6 players that Hearts had in that final were Henry Smith, Craig Levein, Neil Berry, Gary Mackay, John Cahoon and John Robertson. Remarkable stability in the club, although John Cahoon left and returned, so did John Robertson, briefly to Newcastle United. The only candidate for Hibs would have been Gordon Hunter, but for suspension. There's Maurice Johnston. Well, goal kick to Hibs. Well, the opening exchanges, Billy. Hearts are that vital edge. How do you see the play at this stage?
Well, I think that early goal has settled Hearts down much more than it has Hibs. Hibs are obviously anxious about the reorganised defence and they're a bit unsettled. I think the biggest problem they've got at the minute, they can't seem to get hold of the ball in midfield and maybe provide the front three, and particularly Kevin McAllister with the ball at his feet to attack Hearts defenders. At the moment, things are looking nice and comfortable for Hearts.
Well, Hibs deserve credit for taking a very adventurous policy out there to the field, because they have 3 in the midfield, Lennon, Hamilton and O'Neill, 3 up front, Wright, Jackson and McAllister. They're playing in a 4-3-3 system, trying to worry the Hearts defence. It hasn't quite worked out that way yet. They haven't fully recovered the loss of that early goal from John Robertson. There's Johnston. That's cut off by O'Neill. There's Hamilton. Now Lennon. Willie Miller calls for the ball, but hurries the pass. A little lack of composure there from Willie Miller. So food for thought for Alec Miller on the Hibs bench. A man eminently capable of reorganising as the game goes on. Headed away by Miller. Tosh McKinley with a throw. No, an offside decision indicated here by the near side linesman. So it's a free kick to Hibs. It's a free kick which Tweed will take. Kevin McAllister's advanced role means that Gary Mackay has had to become right back for Hearts. There's Tweed again, trying to knock that beyond the Hearts defence. McKinley, there's Cahoon, into space for Johnston, and Jim Leighton thought twice about that. Well, I reckon the Scotland goalkeeper was fortunate there. He started to come, changed his mind, then came, made it in time. Johnston finding good position though, an attack for Hearts.
Maurice Johnston is creating a further problem for Hibs at the back, because he's breaking into the inside right position, and his marker's not coming with him at times, and it creates a situation that David Farrell's almost forced into marking 2 players.
So Johnston showing his remarkable ability again, maybe not quite as sharp as he was at his peak, but still very dangerous forward. Stephen Tweed's header conceding that corner for Hearts. Near post ball, it's Johnston who's there. Up goes Levein. Clearance from Jackson, not very decisive, but the free kick goes to Hibs. Bit of bumping and barging inside the area. Alan McLaren, the player penalised. He's being spoken to by the referee.
I didn't think there was a lot in it, in actual fact, although there, big Stephen Tweed comes up, does what a centre-half should do, gets himself up and gets the ball out the area. I think that's going to be important to Hibs at the minute, because they've got to try and settle themselves down, try and organise themselves as positively as they can at the back, and make sure they don't lose another goal.
Miller was quick there, ahead of Hamilton. Header back by Beaumont. Farrell calling for the ball from Tweed. Well, that's so long in the air, it really looks to be a defender's ball, and Jackson guilty of a foul on McLaren. Free kick to Hearts. Well, Darren Jackson, I think, looking back, really in plaintive fashion, he was concerned, I think, about the lack of quality in the pass delivered.
That's a big problem that Hibs have at the moment. Hearts have won the midfield at the minute, and the Hibs front players are not getting any quality balls played up to them at all.
So Hibs have a throw. Here's Michael O'Neill, 23 caps for Northern Ireland. Now Miller, Lennon called for that into space, it was well delivered by Miller. Lennon looking for Wright, that's a better ball on the ground. And Berry standing up well to the challenge there, turning it away for the throw. Lennon once again. It's back with O'Neill. Jackson helps it on for Wright. Levine did well with a challenge. Ball bouncing away there from both Miller and Robertson. Here's Tweed. Beaumont in good position inside to receive the pass. Michael O'Neill couldn't control that well enough on the run. Levine playing it forward, the offside flag up again. Campbell Carson from Paisley is the linesman, who's had a busy start to the game. So Johnston leading the Hearts line very effectively. Darren Jackson's header was a good one, just behind Wright. Berry been given a lot of time there. Daniel Lennon closing him down. And the midfield battle really is a fascinating one just now, with Hibs lining up Lennon, Hamilton and O'Neill directly against Leach, Miller and McKinley. It's a Hearts trio holding sway at the moment. Good challenge by Tweed. So a throw again to Hearts, who'll be quite happy to see the game calm down a little after a hectic opening. They've been able to settle on this lead provided in the 3rd minute by Robertson. There's O'Neill. Good tackle there by McKinley. Hamilton. This is McAllister. And now Tweed. Beaumont. Farrell had to hurry because Cahoon closed him down rapidly. Mackay to Cahoon. Levine, Mackay. Good passing from Hearts. Breaks off Mackay for O'Neill. Hamilton has to battle hard again. Good foraging there by Lennon, coming back to pick the ball up for Hibs. Miller making that easy for Neil Berry. Wright thought he was pushed, the referee didn't agree. Johnston linking with Robertson. Good interchange of passes there. Seems to be additional confidence in the Hearts ranks. Hibs still looking a little bit nervy, without realising that a second goal lost to Hearts at this stage really would make life extremely tough. Here's Scott Leach. Now McKinley. Easily cut off by Willie Miller. Oh, a long high ball for Wright to challenge. Breaks back to Jackson. Well, indication perhaps of the edginess in the Hibs ranks there. He had McAllister on the left and right ahead of him, Jackson, but he still snatched at the shot.
It's a long ball through, and Keith Wright challenges well for it, but I think Darren Jackson could have done just a little bit more. Bit hasty in taking a shot, obviously anxious. They haven't tested Henry Smith much at all. They haven't had much of the ball. I think that was an opportunity to get it down, look to see if he could make an opening or indeed send someone else in.
Beaumont sending it high and long again. Levine underneath that one. That's McLaren. Pressurised by Hamilton. This is McAllister. Going wide of Levine. Playing in a good dangerous ball there. McLaren turning it away. Well, McAllister still looks to be the principal hope at the moment for Hibs.
Kevin McAllister obviously poses a threat, particularly against Gary Mackay, but what Hibs have got to do is see if they can get him into more attacking position and provide him with more of the ball.
O'Neill playing it in low. That's McKinley's clearance. Hamilton winning it well. That was Tweed doing a good job helping that on for Beaumont. In goes Berry. The linesman tells the referee it's a goal kick. Wilson Irvin from Rutherglen, the linesman. Dave Beaumont takes his place back in central defence. Beaumont and Tweed have certainly been commanding in the air at the back, but Hearts with a very small forward line like to try and play the ball on the deck, and that's proved to be effective so far. Tweed beating Johnston to the high ball. That's McLaren. There's Willie Miller, impeded surely by Johnston. Yes, free kick to Hibs. Well, Maurice Johnston always willing to battle back. By no means a lazy player. He always prepared to work his corner. Now Miller will take the free kick. Stephen Tweed is in the penalty box. Helped on by Wright. That's Berry under pressure from Jackson. Well, Darren Jackson always so troublesome these positions. But I wonder now, Billy, if his reputation is going before him a little, because he does commit a lot of fouls.
Well, that's right. I mean, Keith Wright does well to flick this ball on. In fairness, Darren Jackson is trying to tussle for the ball, but it's a silly place to give away a foul because you've got a defender under pressure. You don't know where the ball's going to land in. Rather than give away a free kick, you should get on with playing.
Cahoon. Good running by Robertson, but he timed that just a little bit out, and he was late in making his move, so free kick taken here for Hibs. Here's Brian Hamilton, now McAllister. Back it goes to Farrell. Forward is Jackson. Well, the three Hearts central defenders looking after each other extremely well. Levine behind McLaren and Berry. Well, high and hopeful again. A push by Berry on right. Free kick to Hibs. The Hibs really have persisted so far, but there's a lot of hopeful high balls through the middle.
It surprised me. The problem they've got is they're not being given time and space in midfield to try and lay a few passes about, try and settle the game down. And obviously they're very anxious to get that goal back. But certainly their front players are going to need an awful lot better calls than they're getting just now.
Offside against Tweed. Well, he certainly provides a major threat inside the Hearts penalty box, the big Hibs centre half. That's if he stays onside. So still being a comfortable afternoon for Henry Smith, senior player on the field. Slightly mistimed by Tweed. Lennon working hard there. Put up by Miller. Well, looked to be 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, to be fair, but the referee gives the decision Hibs way against John Miller. Miller fires it in there. Levine leaping early, getting to that extremely well for Hearts. Chase here for Cahoon. Farrell is with him. Well, they only had one chance there, David Farrell. He had to make that one count, and he did.
It's a good challenge because he keeps his eye on the ball, makes sure he doesn't lose out, and make sure that John Cahoon doesn't get past him. And obviously Cahoon was instrumental in setting up that first goal, but it's an area that Hibs have got to be very watchful of.
Here's Cahoon. Well, he did extremely well there, surrounded by Hibs players, 3 of them closing in on him. O'Neill, Jackson and McAllister, but Cahoon still trying to work the ball into a good attacking position. They have a throw. Jackson forward. Wright is on his own at the moment. Farrell rather with a long ball forward. That's Dave Beaumont playing it back. Just clear Scott Leach to reach Kevin McAllister. High tackle by McAllister. The referee will have words with the Hibs player. Well, that's going to be a booking, but it looked to me as though it was simply a forwards tackle, Billy.
Well, I think that's an easy thing to say, but look at that now. To me, he can have no complaints about that one. A little bit of frustration because he's not getting the ball, he's not getting a chance to have a go at it, but really no excuse for that one because he's gone right over the top.
Yes, on a review of that, it clearly was a bad foul on John Miller, catching him just above the right knee. McAllister has been booked. Frustration apparent. And McAllister playing before the Scotland manager, Craig Brown. Trying to make an impression here. Certainly has been knocking on the door of international recognition, McAllister. Andy Clark has tasted cup final defeat twice, once for Rangers, once for Hearts as a player. Here's Farrell. Keith Wright's header. Hamilton to O'Neill. Now Lennon. Miller goes ahead of him. Jackson comes short. A miscue, but it's picked up well by O'Neill. Still Michael O'Neill. Well, he tried to thread that through the defence. McAllister wanted the ball played to feet. Bit of misfortune there for Michael O'Neill.
Well, Michael O'Neill makes a good run and he's picked up a couple of mistakes. He's nothing to do with the ball, he's got to look, and I think Kevin McAllister's got to be looking for that ball in behind, and really he was just static there.
Almost a glimmer of a chance there for John Robertson. Just appeared to be for a split second on the wrong side of Stephen Tweed for the Hibs defence liking. Headed by McLaren. That's his Leach. Now Gary Mackay. Cross goes Beaumont. So Hearts throw. Cahoon. Well, a little dummy by John Robertson as he sensed the arrival of David Farrell. Didn't quite come off for Hearts. So there's the throw. So 1-0 to Hearts after half an hour. But Hibs still very much in the game, battling hard. Haven't been able to carve out any good openings though. That's a tribute to the quality of the Hearts defending. There's Jackson, screening the ball well. Making space for himself. Now McAllister. A very good turn by McAllister. He's away from two Hearts players. McLaren has recovered. Well, the problem for McAllister has been the final ball on a number of occasions. There's a foul by Farrell on Cahoon. Free kick to Hearts.
This is typical Kevin McAllister stuff, and I think what Hibs have got to attempt to do is give him the ball in more positive and more forward positions so he gets in and around that box. Here you see, at the end of the day, Hearts defenders shepherd him very well. They put numbers round about him and eventually snuff out the danger.
There's McAllister again, turning it out for the throw to Hearts. Well, McAllister does give Hibs that extra dimension. He could switch to the right, he could play through the middle, and always will be a menacing figure. It's a neat turn by Robertson. Clever defending by Beaumont. That's well won by McAllister. Giving him a right, he's on his own through the middle at the moment. Well beaten by Levine for the high ball. Farrell's header. Here's Michael O'Neill. Very quick indeed getting to that. Lennon to Miller. Hibs trying very hard to increase the pace of the game. There's Stephen Tweed. Again, another of those very high balls. There's Darren Jackson on the turn. Well tackled by McLaren. Now that was a splendid tackle by McLaren. Darren Jackson's in trouble for a late challenge. Craig Levein didn't appreciate that. The referee's having words with Jackson.
Darren Jackson here just a little bit. He and Keith Wright get mixed up. Good challenge by Alan McLaren. And I think you see Darren Jackson showing his frustration there, and he's had a go at Alan McLaren. Maybe a bit fortunate to escape a yellow card.
Well, the warning was sufficient for referee Les Morton, but Darren Jackson's temperament may be one of his principal difficulties. He has so much ability, he's so quick and sharp, but does tend to get involved rather a lot with defenders, and he certainly does upset referees frequently. One of those players who always gets something to say on the field. So he was suspended when Hibs played at Ibrox last week along with Keith Wright. So there's Alec Miller. Martin Ferguson on the left of the picture, coach at Easter Road, brother of the Manchester United manager Alec Ferguson. And watching in the director's box, Craig Brown. Wallace Mercer there, the Hearts chairman, just in front of him. Smith's free kick. Here's Willie Miller. Hamilton closed down rapidly by Miller. Sliced away there by Tweed. Well, Hearts undoubtedly the happier side at the moment, leading by a goal to nil and coping fairly comfortably at this stage with Hibs' efforts. John Miller now requires some attention. The Hibs supporters not at all happy with the delay, but you can see how the Hearts fans view the scene at the moment. The 21 on the key there, reflecting the possibility of a 21st match without defeat against Hibs. Well, Hearts will be watching John Miller very carefully, I reckon. They have Jim Weir and Wayne Foster on the bench. Hibs have Gareth Evans and Billy Finlay. Here's Hamilton playing it up the line. It's easily picked up here by McLaren. Miller lets that bounce through. Well, Maurice Johnston putting him under some pressure there. Always potentially dangerous that. The two players might clash in that position. Johnston has scored only 3 times in his Hearts career so far. Wright coming in well for that. Difficult for Tweed against the smaller figure of Robertson. Here's Cahoon. Taken out late by Farrell. I can't think what's upsetting Farrell. He clearly caught Cahoon late. He thinks that Cahoon died, but I don't think he's right. And in the meantime, Alan McLaren has gone down, the Hearts defender. So booking it is for Farrell, who's had a very difficult time in the match so far. So 2 Hearts players acquiring treatment. One of them is John Cahoon, the most recent victim. The second is Alan McLaren, who seems to have some knee trouble.
Yeah, David Farrell comes in there just that little bit late. I don't think it was he went there intended to have a dig at John Cahoon. I think he went there genuinely intended to get the ball, but John Cahoon's just a little bit sharp for him, and at the end of the day he can have no complaints, because when that happens he invariably get booked. Difficult for him now because he's been isolated once or twice with John Cahoon. He's found him difficult. He'll find him even that bit more difficult now.
I'm genuinely concerned too about Alan McLaren. The Hearts defender had some treatment after that tackle from Darren Jackson a short time back, but he's had to have further treatment on that left knee, and that'll be worrying the Hearts bench. The thought with Hugh McCann is number 2 on the bench there as Gary Mackay sends in the free kick. Header away by Beaumont, reaches Leach. This is Johnston. Back with McLaren. This is Mackay. Hibs pressing forward now, making life difficult for Hearts. Here's Craig Levine. Good play there by Farrell. Confident header back to Leighton by the Hibs keeper. Right, troublesome in the air against Berry. A lot of wrestling going on there, and illegal use of the arms by Miller, who's complaining, I think, that Robertson was backing into him. As smaller, chunky strikers tend to do, like Robertson. So Tosh McKinley with the free kick. Going into this crucial phase in the match, leading up to half-time. Beaumont's header. Back with Gary Mackay, who's gone right across to the far side. McAllister in that area too. Beaumont, now Hamilton. Well tackled by Miller. Strong play by Brian Hamilton, that's a good pass. Jackson, playing it early, and Alan McLaren in just the right place for Hearts. Mackay turning into Jackson, knew full well, I think, that the only thing that could happen there would be the ball going behind for a Hearts goal kick. Alan McLaren, though, is clearly in trouble, Billy.
Yes, it looks as though, to me, I thought it might well be his Achilles, but he's touched that knee of his a little bit. That obviously going back to that challenge from Darren Jackson. But that last Hibs move was exactly what they're wanting, because the system that Hearts play allow you to play balls in beside the two wide fullbacks, if you want to call them that, and it means that the centre halves are going to get dragged out the middle. It's the first time we've seen Hibs doing that, and it's something that they've got to repeat just that bit more if they want to get themselves back into this game.
That requires some good passing from the middle of the field, just like Brian Hamilton's effort there a moment ago. That's McLaren. Again, Hearts keen to get the ball on this right flank for Cahoon. O'Neill. This is Beaumont. Tweed makes himself available square. It's closed down by Johnston. Ball still in play there for Willie Miller. Bringing up the line for Wright. Well, the problem has been when Wright has done some good work in the air, Hibs players have not been able to be in the end of the passes. Breaking down there. Johnston losing out there to Farrell. Here's Keith Wright. Now Jackson. This is O'Neill. Kevin McAllister on the left. O'Neill going all the way himself. Well, he has nothing but positive thoughts in his mind, Michael O'Neill. He saw the gap there to go forward, trying to test Henry Smith.
Yeah, he runs at the defenders here, perhaps just a little bit selfish, because he had Kevin McAllister lying just wide of him, and a little pass to him might have been more profitable. But it's understandable, you know, Hibs are frustrated. They haven't really tested Henry Smith. They want to do that before half-time comes along.
So less than 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Lennon inside. This is O'Neill. Missing out McAllister. Farrell not quick enough to get there ahead of Cahoon. Here's Craig Levine. Cahoon returns it. Scott Leach with a good header down for Robertson. Johnston at the far corner of the box as Robertson comes inside. Now it's Cahoon leading it to Miller. There's O'Neill. O'Neill was fouled by Miller. Well, Michael O'Neill complaining that the advantage might well have been applied there. What is a striker for Newcastle United before a transfer to Dundee United for £350,000. Then a £245,000 transfer to Hibs last summer. Here he is again. Delicate ball played in this. Keith Wright! And the match busts to life again. Michael O'Neill's delightful cross and Keith Wright's deadly header. His 13th goal of the season, coming 3 minutes from the interval.
That's a delightful goal, beautiful ball into the middle from Michael O'Neill. What a terrific header from Keith Wright. That's exactly what he loves doing, and look at this ball, it's a real quality ball in behind the defenders, eliminating the central defenders, maybe a wee bit loose marking, but good header, good finish.
Well, a great finish there by Keith Wright, who scored in the league match for Hibs at Tynecastle recently. A very similar header it was. It's his 13th goal of the season. Hibs' biggest signing, £500,000 from Dundee, justifying that once again. Here's John Cahoon though, making for the byline. Well claimed by Leighton. Well, the goal could scarcely have come at a better time for Hibs. Michael O'Neill so much involved in the last 10 minutes or so, playing in that delightful chip. The marking certainly wasn't good enough from the Hearts' point of view, but Keith Wright took full advantage, and it's a major boost to Hibs before the interval. Well, these matches sometimes criticised for not providing too many goals. Alec Miller with more instructions there for his players. But in cup ties since the war, the fewest goals in any Edinburgh derby has been 3. There has been a 4-3 win for Hibs in 1958, 5-0 to Hearts in 55. So goals are plenty in the cup, if not in the league. So Jackson and McLaren tangle as McAllister goes through. It's off the post and scrambled away by Levine. Hibs couldn't have come closer. While the referee's attention was drawn to a clash between Jackson and McLaren, there was Kevin McAllister. It's off the post. Now Keith Wright was waiting. Craig Levine almost scored himself.
Yes, astonishing the way the game has changed, because Hearts at the back. Lucas Shambles just after that goal and almost lost the lead, almost lost the early goal that they lost there. They scored there. It's amazing how much they have been upset at this, but you know, this is an interesting scenario, because Darren Jackson might find himself in real difficult trouble here, but it's a yellow card for both of them, and I don't think either can complain about it.
Well, a nasty little clash there picked up by the referee, but while that was going on, Hibs almost took the lead. Their supporters have come to life below us here, sensing the prospect of victory. Goes Tweed, well beaten by Levine. An acrobatic clearance by Johnston. He's involved again, bounce speed him. This is McAllister, now operating on the right. Keith Wright helps it on. It's Craig Levine again to the rescue for Hearts. Now O'Neill. And Hibs have stepped up a gear here, looking for a lead before half-time. They have another corner kick. We've had 45 minutes in the first half. We're into stoppage time now, and Hibs are trying to take full advantage. Here's O'Neill's corner. Stephen Tweed challenging. Levine did extremely well against him. This is McAllister. Has to be careful about offside. O'Neill is all right. Well, that's good play by O'Neill. Swept away well by Miller. He could so easily have made a mistake there and turned that towards his own goal. Here's Cahoon. It's hectic action now. Down goes Barry Lennon. The tackle by Miller. Attention required for Lennon. Certainly justified that there is additional time added on in the first half.
This game has certainly exploded into life there, and you know, John Miller makes a reckless lunge there, and when you consider what players have been booked for already, he may consider himself just a little bit fortunate there. But certainly the last 4 or 5 minutes, Hibs have created more than they had done up to then. Hearts had looked so comfortable. That early goal had put them commandingly in front, and all of a sudden the game has turned on its head, and Hibs looked the most likely side.
Well, Keith Wright has provided equaliser, which has given so much hope to the legions of Hibs fans here. So it's Michael O'Neill over this free kick. We've got a minute and a half of additional time. Headed on there by Berry. Across goes Stephen Tweed. Tackled by McLaren, then by McKinley. There's Lennon again. And another clash. It's Danny Lennon who's gone down. John Robertson, the culprit. Oh, the referee giving the free kick to Hearts, it would appear. Well, he's not happy about Stuart Colley's arrival on the field to look after Lennon again.
Believe the referee's decision there, because Danny Lennon is in control of the ball, knocks it past John Robertson. John Robertson, I don't think tried to foul him, but couldn't get out of his way and certainly was obstructing him. But the referee, for some unknown reason, has gone the opposite way with his decision.
Well, Billy, 1 goal apiece. How do you think the balance of play is now for the second half to come?
Well, Hearts were so comfortable after that early goal. Hibs had hardly posed a threat, but all of a sudden Michael O'Neill exploded into the action. He's been the motivator behind most of the attacks that Hibs have mounted in this last 5 or 10 minutes or so. And I think, considering the chances they have created, they can deservedly say that the scoreline doesn't flatter them.
So, past 3 minutes of stoppage time in the first half. A late opportunity in the first half for Hearts. That's Willie Miller's clearance. Darren Jackson back in defence, lashing the ball clear. And that's the last action of a hectic first half, which burst to life in the 3rd minute when John Robertson put Hearts ahead with a fine goal scorer's finish. And then Hearts looked to be in command until Hibs popped up 3 minutes from the interval. A cross from Michael O'Neill, a deadly header by Keith Wright. And the half-time score, just about right, I reckon. At Hibs 1, Hearts 1. But we've had 4 bookings. McAllister, Farrell and Jackson for Hibs. McLaren for Hearts has been tough, mighty tough, right from the start. And the second half is certainly going to be full of interest and determined football.
Well, there's no doubt it's a cup tie, that's for sure. Do you feel a little bit sorry perhaps for Hearts, because they did dominate the first half, Derek?
They did. They got the early goal, which every team wants, Dougie. And at the end of the day, they never looked like scoring any more goals, but they were in command. Hibs really wakened up after 40 minutes. I thought they were very, very disappointing, and then the last 5 minutes looked themselves again.
They seem to be missing Graham Mitchell, because the back four just doesn't look comfortable with the formation they're having to play, do they?
Well, I think Farrell's always got to come in on his right foot to clear balls, and that's given him problems. Although John Cahoon early doors started off well, but hasn't done much in the latter part of the first half. But I think Hibs will get their act together. They will be the more positive team in that dressing room at half-time, because really I don't think they started to play until the 40th minute.
And let's take a look at the 2 goals which we've seen so far. The first one after just 2.5 minutes play, and an ideal start for Hearts, as still Hibs tried to readjust to this difficult defensive formation they've been pressed into through Graham Mitchell's absence.
I think John Cahoon, obviously early doors, he had to try Farrell on. Took 3 men there, but I think Tosh McKinlay did absolutely magnificently here, Dougie. We're always saying he's up and down that left-hand side of the park. He's about 40 yards out now as Cahoon gets the ball here. And as the ball comes over the top, just runs nicely onto it as it comes there. Great skills again, gets to the byline, cuts it back in. Who else but John Robertson? I mean, what a goal-scoring record he's got against Hibs in the last 10 years. That was an absolutely superb goal.
I think that's actually John Robertson's 20th in Edinburgh derbies, which is the all-time record.
But they've looked very sharp, Dougie. Morris Johnston, and they've ran the back four of Hibs ragged in the first half, I think, without really doing anything towards the goal after the first goal. But great start to the game, Tosh McKinlay, at the Hibs end as well, so we Robbo would enjoy that a wee bit better. Lovely little flick, Jim Leighton no chance. And it happened possibly just as Hibs were hoping to try and settle with this rearranged back four, of course, and a wonderful time for Hearts clearly to take the lead. And then Hearts really dominated the first half, and it was just beginning to wind down a little, with Hibs really at that stage not doing anything in midfield and not posing much of a threat. I think McLaren Levine absolutely outstanding at the back. I mean, they gave Hibs not a sniff at goals. I mean, Hibs couldn't even get a cross into the box. That's how well they played. McAllister looked good on the ball, but never really got any decent crosses into the box. And the first decent cross that Hibs got into the box they scored with. That's right. The midfield area certainly was a problem though for Hibs in the first half. I think there's a lot of man-to-man marking doing it. It's made it difficult for Hibs, but certainly the weekend up 5 minutes before half-time and started to play again. OK, well, let's take a look at that Hibs equalising goal coming as it did just as the half-time whistle was fast approaching. A wonderful header by Keith Wright, but very well made indeed by Michael O'Neill. Well, it was McAllister again. He hasn't stuck right or left. He's played all over the pitch. Wherever the ball is, he's gone there, because his control is magnificent, no doubt about that. Stuck the ball to O'Neill there, and we've seen very, very little of O'Neill in the first half, but look, looks up, a lovely little chip in, and you won't get a better header like that. I mean, nobody marking him for the first time in the game. and really Henry Smith absolutely no chance with that header.
Okay, and then of course just a few seconds after that, Kevin McAllister very nearly put Hibs in front. But that's how it stands at half-time, 1 goal each. Let's now go back out for live coverage of the second 45 minutes. Let's rejoin Billy and John.
Thank you, Dougie. Yes, and we have established straight away that Alan McLaren has come out for Hearts in the second half. There was some concern about him as he went in at half-time because of a knee injury. So he is in his usual place, having had some treatment, no doubt, during the interval. So Hearts are unchanged for the second period. They have Wayne Foster and Jim Weir in reserve. And there will be some interest in whether or not Danny Lennon comes back out for Hibs, Billy, because he took a couple of very heavy knocks in that late surge by Hibs.
Well, that's right. He certainly took a very heavy knock late on, but I just wonder if we might see the introduction of Billy Finlay, maybe in the centre of midfield, to allow Michael Neal to play in a wider position. And perhaps just have a real go at Hearts, because I think he was instrumental in bringing Hibs back into the game. And whatever way it is, I think we're all set for a real exciting second half.
No question about that. Fascinating stuff, a real cup tie in every sense. And Hibs playing their favourite way. The floodlights have come on as the gloom descends. Darren Jackson there, number 10, with Keith Wright, the front two, ready to start the second half. So the Tennent's Scottish Cup fourth round tie, the Edinburgh Derby, goes into the second half, and Hibs undoubtedly with renewed hope in the light of that good finish in the first half. Hearts will be anxious to settle quickly, get back to the pattern of play which was so successful for them for so long in the first half. There's Kevin McAllister battling back well on the left, opening the second half in the same position as he occupied for the bulk of the first half, wide on the left. An area where Hibs would like to occupy him, which means John Cahoon will have to have a thought or two about defence when the ball is with Hibs in that area. McAllister kept it in, only for Cahoon. This is Gary Mackay. Johnston showing too much of that to Tweed. Tackle came from Brian Hamilton. This is Craig Levine. Out it goes for the Hibs throw. So no obvious tactical alterations made by Hibs, or indeed by Hearts for the second half. So both managers must be content that their original planning was correct. Now down to these players to win their individual battles and turn the match their team's way. Here's Brian Hamilton breaking. Hibs want to see lots more of that. It's a feature of his play normally. Lennon inside. This is O'Neill. Looking for Keith Wright. Alan McLaren kept his eye on the ball. This is Miller. Johnston realised he had no chance there against Beaumont. Now with Scott Leach. Backtracking player was right. Hibs certainly appear to be fired up for the second half. Scorer of Hibs' goal, and willing to work all the way up and down the centre of the field. It's a good header again. Jackson beaten to the ball by Levine. This is Willie Miller. Had to go into that saving tackle on Robertson. He'll have to do it again. So a throw to Hearts. Tosh McKinley will take it. Robertson, the Hearts goal scorer. So 4 players on a knife edge in the second half. They've been booked already in the match. McAllister, Farrell and Jackson for Hibs. McLaren for Hearts. So all of these have to avoid any reckless challenges. So free kick which Gary Mackay will take for Hearts. Packed area, looking for McLaren at the far post. He's well matched by Keith Wright. This is McAllister dragging the ball away from Johnston and Cahoon. A long chase here for Hamilton. And Levine very calmly keeps the ball in play. That's McLaren. Now Cahoon. Holding off Farrell. Farrell did just enough there with a block. Enable O'Neill to get to the ball. Hearts will accept the throw. John Robertson. Well tackled by O'Neill initially. It's Beaumont who completes the clearance from Keith Wright. There's Berry. Well, the elbow surely was raised there by Jackson. Yes, the free kick goes to Hearts. Jackson looks aggrieved, but that appeared to be as clear an offence as you could imagine. So Hibs have the throw this time. Tosh McKinley, a £300,000 signing from Dundee 6 years ago. And he certainly has proved to be excellent value for money. A long chase here for Wright. McLaren and Levine are there. And the free kick goes against Keith Wright, trying to push the defenders out of the way.
He certainly uses his hands just a little bit there, but you know, he's keen to get himself in. He scored a goal for his club. He's keen to get himself on the end of something else. Perhaps just a little bit over enthusiastic.
No booking though, just a word of warning from referee Mottram. That's Cahoon. Headed down by Beaumont. There's Michael O'Neill driving the ball against Leach. They've been direct opponents for most of the match. Well, a striker at Newcastle, but converted to a very skillful midfield player in his time in Scotland. Headed away by McLaren. Keith Wright thought he was fouled. The referee didn't agree. McLaren totally decisive with that challenge. Well, they exchange a few pleasantries again. Jackson to Wright, trying to get away from Berry. The last touch was off Keith Wright as a throw to Hearts. Well, Neil Berry, such a determined, diligent marker. Here's Wright again. It's halted by McLaren. Johnston's header hanging in the air there for Robertson. Tweed would have none of that though. Well, Stephen Tweed, certainly a centre half that you will have views on, Billy.
Yes, I think he's a very promising young man that he's stuck with his task very well today. Difficult start, but since then he hasn't given an awful lot away. He's been uncompromising and he looks so comfortable on with the ball at his feet. It's quite nice in the modern day game that you see a big lad like that who looks as though he's got a real future.
Well, on the 21 caps already. He's still only 21 years old. Joined the club from Hutchison Vale in 1990. A prolific nursery for the Edinburgh clubs, Hibs in particular. That's Alan McLaren's pass. There's Tweed. And now Brian Hamilton back to Miller. Right, coming off his marker well this time. That's Brian Hamilton looking for Jackson. Jackson turned that into a good pass. Good play, finding Lennon on the right. The angle cross, there's Keith Wright! It was a golden opportunity. Easier surely than the one he scored. He shakes his head in disbelief. Now he'll be very upset to see this again. A little Danny Lennon sent in a lovely ball there. Hearts again are all mixed up there. There's Keith Wright without a marker. A wonderful chance. He'll be disappointed with his finishing effort. Well, you see, after he had that attempted goal, he looked across to the linesman, I think, in fact, hoping the flag was up because he'd missed, but it had stayed down. He was all right. It's a great chance missed by Hibs. That's one area of concern for Hearts. They've lost Keith Wright a couple of times when balls have been played into the area in the air. Neil Berry is the marker, following him all over the place. McLaren's with Jackson. Levine spare. There's Wright with Berry again. McLaren retrieves for Hearts. Appears to be none the worse of that first half injury. Beaumont's header. Controlled well by O'Neill. That's one for Lennon to chase. Well tackled by McKinley. Well, McKinley wanted a throw. The linesman didn't agree with him, nor did the referee. Lennon there in possession. Picking out Beaumont in space in the middle. Misunderstanding there between O'Neill and Beaumont initially, but they both recovered. Here's Kevin McAllister. Twisting and turning, sending in the cross. There's Hamilton! Superb effort by Brian Hamilton, splendidly saved by Henry Smith. Hibs have stepped up a gear.
Yeah, Hibs look much more comfortable, much more exciting, much more enterprising. We see the benefit of having McAllister in those wide positions, sends a good ball into the box there, and there's Brian Hamilton doing what I haven't seen a lot of them today, breaking into those scoring opportunities.
Fine play indeed by Hibs. Brian Hamilton, a man who's tasted Scottish Cup success in 1987 as a 19-year-old. He was in the Shinburn side, which beat Dundee United. So anxious to recapture that feeling.
It looks as though Alec Miller has asked Danny Lennon to push forward into a slightly wider position than they adopted in the first half, and I think it's given Michael O'Neill and Brian Hampton that bit more room in midfield, and they're enjoying the responsibility that's been thrust upon them, and certainly they're testing Hearts an awful lot more at the back.
Alec Miller there, involved in 5 Scottish Cup finals as a player in his career at Rangers. Winner on 2 occasions, 76 and 79, loser in 71, 80 and 82. Now looking to stay on the road to Hampden. His team certainly giving him a lot more in this second period than they offered throughout long spells in the first. There's McAllister colliding there with Mackay. Levine picks up the loose ball. Tackled by Levine. Oh, that's a reckless challenge by O'Neill. Well, what that was all about, I really don't know. Mike O'Neill lost a place there for a split second.
Yeah, in actual fact, I think he tried to duck out of it eventually. To me, it's just a typical forward challenge. He was never renowned for his tackling ability, and I think he illustrated why there.
Well, a Tennant Scottish Cup tie, which is certainly not for faint hearts. Alan McLaren's free kick. Headed on by Johnston. Here's Cahoon with the early cross. Tosh McKinley attacking this. Willie Miller did very well indeed there. Could have been distracted easily. Levine getting it just ahead of Lennon. Giving that away. Hamilton releasing Keith Wright. He's onside. No, the flag was up. Well, that must have been very close indeed. Keith Wright suggesting he was in his own half when the pass was released.
It's a good pass through. I'm not convinced he was offside. You know, we see it there. The ball's already travelled maybe 20 yards. I thought he had held himself onside and timed his run well. I think the linesman just a little bit late with the flag.
I must confess, from this position, I too thought he was in line when the ball was released. Certainly, I think he was in the Hearts half, but I thought he was all right. Here's Mackay. It's well taken by Latham. He's had a quiet time this half. They had nothing to do since the interval. Operating right in front of the visiting Hearts supporters who are populated behind his goal. There's Tosh McKinley. Willie Miller's clearance reaches Danny Lennon. That's a good flick. Keith Wright attempting the return. He had much more time, I think, than he realised, Wright, because Neil Berry was about 5 yards off him. And that's unusual this afternoon. So Danny Lennon operating very profitably wider on the right in the second half for Hibs. Throw to Hearts. Farrell did well to keep that in play. So did McAllister. Challenge there by Jackson. Winning possession for Hamilton. He's away from Miller's tackle. This is Willie Miller. Trying to hit the byline here. Chased by John Robertson. The ball was out of play, I think. Would have gone for the goal kick. And Willie Miller protesting to the linesman. Well, even from here it looked as though it was over the byline, but after suggesting his jersey was being held. Well, another fiery individual, Miller.
Yeah, we see the run. Yeah, I think he's just over the line in actual fact. But all credit to John Robertson. He's tracked him back there well. His defenders have been caught out. He said, well, I'll take the responsibility, and forced him into that little error.
Well, a free kick given there against Gary Mackay for the tackle at Kevin McAllister. I must say I had some sympathy there with Mackay. He seemed to be keeping his eye on the ball, but now has to make another tackle on McAllister. Gary Mackay once again showing his immense value to Hearts. 14 years he's been at the club. He's arriving as a youngster from Salvesen Boys Club, and he has played a number of positions very well indeed. And of course is a Scottish international, having scored that wonderful goal in Bulgaria some years ago for Scotland, which made him a hero in Ireland. It made sure the Republic qualified for European Championships. Here's Tosh McKinlay. Strong tackle by Miller, and he's sent spinning by Miller. John Miller, that is. And this game is in danger of getting out of hand. Well, it's a raw meat type of cup tie. John Miller has been warned before, so he's going to be booked. Well, John Miller was involved in a very tough challenge in the first half, for which he received a warning. Well, I mean, at that time thought he was fortunate, but now he's getting a yellow card.
Yeah, it was an interesting little scenario, because in actual fact, you see here, Maurice Johnson's complaining about Willie Miller's tackle, which I felt took the ball, and I think John Miller took it upon himself to get retribution, and because he's late, he ends up in the book. Don't think he can have any complaints.
Well, I can tell you, as the free kick was given, there was a very hefty exchange between Farrell and Cahoon. Boots flying after the whistle had already gone. Well, referee Mottram will be keeping a very close eye on things. We now had 5 players in the match booked. Johnston doing well that time against Tweed. Here's Miller. There's no one forward on the right for Hibs. So that's harmless enough. Willie Miller protesting to the strikers that one of them should have been making a run there. This time the free kick goes against Robertson. Well, he's complaining to the referee, but he was holding off Stephen Tweed. The big centre half was doing nothing of that to. He was standing his ground. And he has the reward. He's now on the attack for Hibs. There's Dave Beaumont. Berry's clearance. Berry again, he's losing out here to Keith Wright. Well, a chance on his weaker foot, which he failed to take. And I think his teammates have a complaint that he should have missed on the far side. If he'd aimed for the far corner, it would have been a much better chance for Hibs.
Gets the break of the ball there. He's in a position to strike the target. I know he's got Darren Jackson away in the far side of the goal, but I never can really blame a forward for having a goal from there. Darren Jackson might think otherwise.
O'Neill Berry thoroughly relieved. Good layoff by Wright. Here's Brian Hamilton. He has McAllister wide on the left. Into the gap it goes, looking for Jackson. Misunderstanding there on the attack. Well, here's Michael O'Neill, who's always looking very composed in midfield. Now Miller. Wright with a return pass. That's for Daniel Lennon. That's a good cross, too high for Darren Jackson. Craig Levine won it. Still Hibs on the attack. Deflected there by Darren Jackson. John Cahoon lets that run. Hearts are going to make a substitution. It's Wayne Foster of Hearts who's ready to come on. Well, Hearts certainly haven't been showing a lot of attack in the second half. Hibs and the cavalry charge down the slope of Easter Road. Another knock taken this time by Keith Wright. It's a good turn by Robertson. Here's John Cahoon. And combination there of Hamilton and Farrell. And the result is a free kick to Hearts. Still no indication of who's coming off. No, it is John Robertson who's being withdrawn. Well, a very interesting change. Robertson off, Foster on. The goal scorer for Hearts is withdrawn. What do you make of that, Billy?
Well, I think it's always a difficult decision to take off John Robertson. I had thought perhaps it was John Colquhoun that might be going off, because we've not seen an awful lot from John Colquhoun after one or two challenges. But it does surprise me just a little bit. Certainly Wayne Foster's a positive player, full of pace, full of fire. And maybe just Sandy thinks he needs a little bit of a change, maybe just needs a little bit more running power through the middle.
Still looking for his first goal of the season, Wayne Foster. Lennon's header. It's retrieved here by McKinley. Here's Hamilton. Now O'Neill. Nudging that forward, hoping to catch Keith Wright on the move. Too far ahead of him though. Neil Berry escorting it back safely. Dave Beaumont taking charge of the Hibs rear guard, making sure they take a firm line just inside their own half for this clearance by Henry Smith. Beaumont allows Johnston a free header because he felt that Hibs could tidy up the result of that. There's Jackson. In goes Lennon. All right. Helps it on from McAllister. McAllister trying to go past Gary Mackay. The referee shakes his head there as Kevin McAllister looks to him for some assistance. Runs away for a goal kick. McAllister can't believe this.
I think in actual fact the referee might have been right. Indeed, he might even have given a foul against Kevin McAllister. Use of his arm, and I think the referee was prepared to write that one off. But certainly Hibs have looked much more positive, with McAllister wide on one side and Lennon on the other. They've looked much more potent side this half.
McAllister stopped there by Levine. Here's Keith Wright taking on McLaren. Keeps his eye on the ball well, McLaren. Another tough challenge there by the Scottish international. Kai plays it forward for Colquhoun. Well, the tackling is getting even fiercer if that's possible. McLaren with a long throw there up the line, and Farrell getting up on the shoulders of Johnston. A foolish challenge that by Farrell. Gets some words from the dugout there, which he didn't appear to appreciate. They'll be concerned about him giving away a free kick needlessly in this position, ensuring more defensive work for Hibs. So still instructions from Alec Miller. That's well won by Beaumont. Free kick against Keith Wright. Well, that appeared to be 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, clashing with Mackay. Mackay forward for Foster, who's very quick indeed. Doing a bit of wrestling there, trying to get an advantage over Dave Beaumont. Beaumont's experience important there to Hibs. There they are, these two now in direct opposition. Beaumont formerly with Luton Town, Foster with Preston North End. It's well won by Miller. Here's Tosh McKinley. Didn't catch that the way he intended. Willie Miller did well, so did Brian Hamilton. This is Jackson holding off Berry. And a flying elbow there from Jackson, catching John Miller. Miller is still on the ground there. And that didn't do Jaron Jackson any credit at all. A long ball from Brian Hamilton. Here's Kevin McAllister. Well, that's good play by McAllister, away from Mackay. A chance on here for Hibs. Breaks back. Michael O'Neill on the end of it. Taken out of the play by McKinley. Was he? No, says the referee. John Miller is still on the ground as Tweed tries to break on the right. The ball's out for a throw. And John Miller there, going towards the referee. Well, Darren Jackson for me is very fortunate. clash between McKinley and O'Neill, which the referee saw nothing wrong with. Well, Darren Jackson getting very uptight there, and I felt that his challenge on John Miller certainly was one he was lucky to escape. He's been booked already, and had that been picked up by the referee, I suspect he may not have taken much more part in the play. There goes Jackson again. Change of pace, goes away from McLaren. Great play by Jackson. Wow. He appeared to have created a shooting chance for himself. There's O'Neill. Well, the tackle they're going in thick and fast now. And John Miller clearly aggrieved about getting no relief for that incident with Darren Jackson, now trying to seek retribution himself. The free kick will have to be taken again. It was in the wrong place. Referee Mottram didn't appreciate a gesture there by Michael O'Neill. Here's O'Neill. Very creative now for Hibs. This is Willie Miller. Lennon trying to make an angle to receive the pass. Now Darren Jackson. Careless one. John Miller picks it up. He's tackled late by O'Neill. Hearts in possession. Advantage will applied. Good refereeing. Here's John Cahoon. Well tackled by Farrell. So, 20 minutes of the match left. 1 goal apiece, and the match on a knife edge. Here's John Miller. McKinley, well tackled by Willie Miller. Here's Michael O'Neill. McAllister started a run, then checked out, but O'Neill didn't see the checking out. The pass goes astray. Hearts of possession. There's Tweed. Oh, Willie Miller. Jackson and right through the middle. Lennon on the right touchline. Here's Lennon here. And the attack breaks down with Scott Leach. Space on the right for Cahoon. Well, Hearts are going to make another substitution, I think. Jim Weir preparing to come on. So trying to find the correct number to indicate who is to come off. Weir is certainly coming on. Thumped high in the air by McKinley. There's some evidence now of fatigue in the part of one or two of the players after putting so much into this game. It's hardly surprising they're beginning to feel the pace. There's Willie Miller. Now Keith Wright. Back with Hamilton, and now O'Neill. Cahoon wins it from McAllister. Levine. Johnston showing good control in his chest. It's back with McLaren. Here's McKinley. Good distribution there from McLaren. Headed down by Willie Miller. That's Danny Lennon. Couldn't get to that. It's out for a throw to Hearts. So reaching a stage in the match where a goal for either side could well be the winner. So little time to recover from a setback for either side. Here's Neil Berry. So seldom in attack. Now he has to backtrack rapidly. Jackson assessing the options inside. Good running by Wright. Checks inside to assess the options again. That was Scott Leach who turned that away for the corner. Hearts want to bring off Scott Leach. The number 11's being held up. The referee has just spotted that now, I think. So the former Dunfermline player, Scott Leach, who has struggled rather to cope with Michael O'Neill as the game has gone on, goes off.
Yeah, it was good running initially from Keith Wright there, running into that channel behind either wide player in Hearts' defence, and Hibs have used an awful lot more than that. They've built up much more successfully. They've played shorter passes at the back. They've been able to introduce Michael O'Neill, Brian Hamilton, and they've been able to introduce the 2 wide players. So they're giving themselves much more option than they did in the first half.
And Hibs too making a change. Darren Jackson withdrawn. I think that's a sensible move. And the replacement is Gareth Evans for Jackson. He certainly gets himself wound up in these matches. Near the corner, Stephen Tweed challenging. Henry Smith taking it under the crossbar. So let's see where Jim Weir is playing. He normally would play in a defensive position in central defence, sometimes at right back. That's what he's doing now. He's gone to the position vacated by Gary Mackay. Mackay is in the centre of midfield now, trying to look after Michael O'Neill, while Weir is on McAllister. This is John Cahoon. Tweed in the way. That's Jim Weir. And now Cahoon. A good cross in. Willie Miller was there. Headed away by Hamilton. Here's Evans. A new problem there for Neil Berry. The sharpness and pace and the energy of Evans.
That's right, he's a good sub to bring on at this stage in the game. Legs will be tiring, particularly with the back players, and he's got such good pace that he'll always test people at the back. And with Hibs having so much of the game, there's always the liability that they'll get an opportunity to run.
Wayne Foster's header. There's Johnston. He's done very well indeed there. Willie Miller should have the chance to clear, which he does effectively. Well, not happy with some of his teammates. Here's John Miller. McKinley. Oh, both players going in with feet up. Well, I'm not sure how the referee could choose one rather than the other, but it's Evans who's penalised.
It's just a little bit reckless by Gareth Evans. I know both feet are high, but his is just that bit reckless, and I think they're always in danger of hurting someone going in with that high challenge.
Mackay to Foster. This is McKinley. Hearts making a recovery now. They've had a difficult start to the second half, but now trying to get back in an attacking force. It's a corner kick. Inside the final quarter of an hour. So one goal apiece. And this fourth round tie still to be resolved. Foster and Craig Levine right inside the 6-yard box. Played in there by Gary Mackay. Swept behind in among the Hearts supporters by David Farrell. Everyone around that penalty box except Neil Berry and Henry Smith. It's well claimed by Leighton. Now he wasn't able to release the ball swiftly because Hibs had everyone back defending. Berry's header. Here's O'Neill. Turning straight into Gary Mackay. Making a good recovery tackle though, the Northern Ireland international. So Hearts in possession again. Farrell lofting that into the enclosure. Well, it's this tense, nervous stage in the match when a mistake could be fatal. And of course, an attacking player could make himself a hero in one half of the city. If he could produce a moment of magic to win this tie. So the free kick being left there to David Farrell. Well, Hibs' tactics have certainly changed in the second half. They've gone into a more rigid 4-4-2, and they have stopped the flow of high balls through the middle, which were so common in the first half for them, and that has made them a more potent looking side overall. Here's Keith Wright. That's awkward for Henry Smith. Taken very calmly though. Wayne Foster with a header down for Miller. This is McKinley. Back it comes to John Miller. Turned away by Willie Miller. John Miller made a good run there. He wasn't picked up by Brian Hamilton. McKinley trying to come away from Lennon. Gratefully gathered there by Leighton. The long ball launched. Keith Wright did a touch. The wrestling match goes on. The referee says 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. There's no free kick. Well, Levine was turning looking for a free kick, perhaps trying to make sure there wasn't one given against him. Foul by Beaumont. Well, now can either side produce something in the last 11 minutes? Billy, any preferences now?
Well, this is the tense period in the game, because really Hearts have been out for a long time, but since they made that substitution, or the double substitution, they've come back into the game just a little bit. Hibs certainly look the more composed side, and they look to be playing the formation that suits them best, and they've had the better of the second half. But they haven't carved out a lot of chances, so it's that tense period when a little mistake can lose a game for someone, and I think you'll find that the defences will be right on their toes just in this last period.
Good play by David Beaumont there. And Farrell's clearance was unorthodox, to say the least. Johnston wins it from Beaumont, using his strength well. It's back with Cahoon. No one through the middle there for Hearts. Well, I imagine the Hibs player will be most anxious to win this game, like Keith Wright, who has missed the best chance of the second half, without question. Here's Gareth Evans. Dumped there by Neil Berry. Well, he's complaining there to referee Mottram, not quite sure why.
Now this is the threat that Evans possesses. He's nicked the ball past Neil Berry there, and Neil Berry just lunges and brings him down.
Well, Neil Berry, interested in the score between Bolton Wanderers and Aston Villa at the end, because he's an ex-Bolton player. Cleared there by Cahoon. There's Johnston. Played in by Beaumont. McKinley towards Mackay. Robbed by Evans. A chance on here for Hibs. That was a great ball in by Gareth Evans. None of his teammates alert enough, though, to be in position to take advantage. Farrell's header goes straight to Miller. Here's McKinley. Willie Miller made the challenge. Hearts have to settle for a throw. Here's Foster. McKinley. John Miller. Careless pass inside, it's picked up by O'Neill. Evans involved once again. He's such an effective substitute for Hibs. Good running by Lennon. That was very well read by Gary Mackay. Very intelligent defensive midfield work by Mackay. Evans again, using his sharpness. Berry did well to block the cross. Well, so effective as a marker at the back, Neil Berry. Berry has to do some more work against this corner kick. Hibs supporters giving vocal backing here. Played in by Michael O'Neill. Kept in by Beaumont. Here's Cahoon. Foster taken out of the play by Farrell. Always intrigued when players complain bitterly about a clear foul like that. Made no contact with the ball. So here's Alan McLaren with the free kick. Just over 7 minutes left, plus injury time, to see if this tie can be settled at the first attempt. Telling which there'll be a replay at Tynecastle a week on Wednesday. Here's Jim Weir. Mackay. Foster. Back to Cahoon. Near post cross claimed by Leighton. Trying to release Lennon with a quick throw. There's pass from Lennon. This is Willie Miller. Using Lennon again. Now Miller. Forward it goes towards Evans. So Levine standing up well to the Hibs threat and attack. So, goal kick to Hearts. Over the piece, a very evenly contested match. And Kevin McAllister has just been named the Tennent's man of the match for his skillful performance on the flank for Hibs. John Miller caught late by Hamilton. That's O'Neill. The referee spotted that. He's having words with Hamilton. Miller in the wars again. What a warning suffices here.
Yeah, Brian Hamilton comes in late there, and when you consider the number of names that have been taken in the game, it wouldn't have been a surprise had he been added to that list. But certainly we've had a real cup tie and a real appetite about the game, particularly this second half. It's been much more even, although to be fair to Hibs, they've had the better part of it.
Jamir helps that on, straight to Beaumont. This is Evans, showing good control again. Now Brian Hamilton. Willie Miller goes forward. Lennon on the outside. It's blocked by John Miller. It's a corner kick to Hibs again. Throwing everything at the Hearts defence now. They want to end this at the first attempt. So Michael O'Neill over the ball. Near post ball. Stephen Tweed made the run. That's good play by Mackay. Clearance though is picked up by Brian Hamilton. Hearts finding it difficult to get out of their own half. Hamilton forward again. That's O'Neill. Broke awkwardly off him as he was being challenged at the same time. So it's a throw to Hearts. Less than 5 minutes remaining. Hibs won, Hearts won. Been that way since the 42nd minute of the match. Berry's clearance. Hamilton to Miller. Well, that's good play by Miller. Now Lennon. Nimble play also. Back here with Beaumont. Not the kind of service Kevin McAllister likes, especially against Jim Weir, who's such a good central defender. Here's Foster, using his pace, a chance to win the game for Hearts. He's done it! It's Wayne Foster's first goal of the season, and it surely won the tie for Hearts. Right out of the blue, sheer joy for these Hearts supporters. And Sandy Clark on now, 4 minutes left, he says. Concentration required. And Wayne Foster is being booked for going to the Hearts supporters. But what a good finish this was.
Well, this is exactly why Sandy brought him on. His pace is always a threat at the back, but his composure's good there as well, because he takes his time. He knows exactly where Jim Leighton is. Here we see the initial pass, which splits the Hearts defence, the Hibs defence, just for about the first time this half. And there he is, he takes it well, steadies himself and places it past Jim Leighton. Crucial time to score a goal.
Well, now can Hibs come back? Wayne Foster, what a time to score his first goal of the season. Looks all set to win this Edinburgh derby, the cup tie. The quarter-final place beckoning, and Foster has turned out to be the super sub. The noise you hear now coming from Hearts supporters. There's Tweed on to O'Neill, and the referee has given a free kick for offside against Hearts. And Hibs will be certainly very concerned that one simple ball through the middle should have opened them up like that. Perhaps a lapse in concentration. But they may well have to suffer dearly for it. And the irony also is the fact that the goal for Hearts comes at a stage when Hibs have been doing so well. Alec Miller checking his watch. realising that time is running out rapidly. Michael O'Neill's header, led away by Craig Levine. So David Farrell with the throw. It's back to Beaumont. A header by Mackay. Well won by Hamilton. There's Evans. McKinley's clearance. David Farrell climbing there to win that, and Jim Weir thumps that ball into the enclosure. Well, now the Hibs supporters are totally stunned. It looks like game number 21 without a win against their deadly rivals. Well, that tells the story, that picture of the Hibs supporters. A second half which Hibs have largely dominated, but the result of all that is they've got a goal behind. Can they save the game? Here's Kevin McAllister. Queuing up in the middle, and still at 1-1 kindly. Michael O'Neill couldn't get on the end of that. Stephen Tweed and Keith Wright were challenging for the initial ball.
It's a good ball into the middle here, but there we see the real scramble for the ball, and big Stephen Tweed should have got a better connection there, I think, because he had the opportunity to put it between the posts here, just doesn't quite get up, doesn't jump beside, doesn't direct his header.
We're into stoppage time now at the end of the game. It looks as though Hearts are through the quarter-final, unless we're in for a remarkable finish. They won't, that's it! The referee ends the match! Wayne Foster goes to the Hearts supporters again. Having been booked already, that would be foolish. Greeted by John Cohn. The Hearts supporters celebrate. The jinx for Hibs continues. They just can't seem to find a way to beat Hearts in these derby matches. And having dominated the second half, Wayne Foster pops up with a deadly finish 4 minutes from the end, and Hearts are in the quarter-finals. Well, Gary Mackay, a hero here for Hearts also. Billy, your heart must go out, surely, to Alec Miller.
Well, that's right. I think he obviously worked very hard at half-time. His team got the break of that goal just before half-time. He worked hard at half-time, got his team organised, got them playing the way he wanted to play, and then he sees the tie disappear in the last couple of minutes. That little lack of concentration at a crucial time. You've always got to watch your defenders, keep them on their toes. Wayne Foster's pace. You've got to say to Sandy Clark, great substitution, Sandy, you took a chance, it was a brave decision, but it came for you.
The 21 key there for the Hearts supporter behind the goal. So it's been a remarkable afternoon, settled in the end by Wayne Foster's goal. Kevin McAllister, a Tennent's man of the match, but that'll be of no consolation to him. It really is a remarkable scene here, and Rob McLean is with Wayne Foster.
Wayne, a marvellous moment for you. How did you enjoy that?
Absolutely delighted. Obviously we've been struggling in the league and that, and we got a lot of pressure on us coming here. A lot of people fancied Hibs to beat us, and we went up against it because they did have a really good spell. But fortunately for us, we stuck in and managed to score.
You took it well. You had plenty of time to think about it on the way through as well.
Yeah, well, I think it was Gary Mackay played a great ball through, it bounced, and like I said, I could able to take my touch, and I realised that I got a little bit of time, even though someone was closing down on the inside. I just wanted to hit the target, and luckily enough, I did, and it went in. And I'm absolutely delighted.
You're under a lot of pressure. Were you thinking replay?
Well, obviously, I mean, at that stage, I think we'd been happy with the replay, if I'm quite honest, because Hibs were on top. Well, like I said, I mean, you've got to take your chances. I mean, Keith Wright had a great chance, and unfortunately for himself, he missed it. And that could have been a different story, but fortunately we've won. I'm delighted for the team and for the club and everyone.
Well done, thanks very much.
Thank you.
So, celebrating Hearts fans, this astonishing run of success in the Edinburgh Derby continues for the Tynecastle side. 21 games now, stretching back to January of 1989 without defeat. And this one, sweeter than most, I would imagine, coming as it does in the fourth round of the Tennent's Scottish Cup. So celebrations among the Hearts fans. Sad to say, I have to point out that among the Hibs fans there did seem to be quite a deal of trouble, and the police were heavily involved, and a section of the crowd occupied by the Hibs fans down by the corner flag near us, which I think they now seem to have under control. And it's always sad to report on those scenes, but the Hearts fans celebrate. It's a 2-1 victory for Hearts. They will go into the quarter-final draw, which will be made in just a few minutes in the Easter Road Boardroom, and of course we shall bring to you live. Well, let's look again at the winning goal, which Wayne Foster scored, coming on as a substitute, and has taken Hearts through to the last 8 of the Tennent's Scottish Cup.
A great substitution, was it? I mean, he's always got pace, Wayne Foster, and really Hibs can do nothing about that. Did a superb ball through for him, it has to be said. Ran through. Alec Miller will be disappointed with the two centre-backs. One of them should have got the tackle in there, allowed him to run, and when Jim Leighton came out through his legs and into the net. We all thought it was going to be a 1-1 finish, but well done to Hearts. They kept it going right to the very, very end. 2 minutes to go and then the score.
It really is a cruel game at times, though, because you'd have to say in the second half that Hibs dominated, didn't they?
Well, in the first half, Hearts dominated Dougie for 40 minutes, then Hibs scored with 5 minutes to go. Exact opposite in the second half. Hibs were more... Boy, you can hardly hear yourself talking with the lads in the background. But they did score the winning goal, a smashing goal at that.
Quarter-finals, did you see that one coming?
Yeah, without a doubt, Rob. You were with me in the dressing room 2 minutes ago and I said to the lads, what do you fancy Ibrox or Pittodrie? We knew the way the draws went so far, that's what was going to happen to us. Aye, delighted. Absolutely no worries at all about going there.
And what about today? How happy were you with that? Were you thinking replay?
I must admit, the longer it went, I looked at it to be fair. But we said to the lads in the first half, try and get the ball over the top, and eventually we got one decent pass for Gary Mackay, and Fozzie's finished it magnificently.
OK, well done today.
It's been quite an afternoon from all of us here at Easter Road. Goodbye for now.